The interface for Excel 2013 can be pretty familiar, has a lot of the same buttons. The look is a little bit different. The buttons aren't 3D, they're not shadowed, so they're very flat. That's one thing you'll notice about the interface. And one thing we want to do as we go through the interface is explain where certain things are, what they're called. It's very important when you're learning software is to understand what things are called, because it's easier to find information about the things when you know the right name for them. So let's take a look at the interface. Going across the top on the left top, you'll see the new Excel 2013 icon. When you click that, this has to do with the window itself, moving, sizing, minimize it or maximize the window. You can also close this window, which in this case would be the file as well. You can also hit Alt F4, that's your keyboard commands, to do closing. So pay attention to those. Sometimes those will help you get out of a jam, make it go faster. And if you like keyboard commands, you'll see those all over the place. So I'm going to click out of this to close that part. Now this section right here, it has 3 default buttons built in. It's Save, Undo, and Redo. This is all part of what's called the Quick Access Toolbar, and you have other options that you can add to it. We'll cover more of that as we get into the training. All the way to the right in the middle is Book 1 Excel. When you open up a new file, the default name is Book 1 Excel. If you open up another one, it's Book 2. The third one is Book 3. It keeps on doing that for you to give it some simple file name to start with. You can always change them to something else. That's no problem. Whenever you close Excel altogether, reopen Excel, it'll start over again with Book 1, Book 2, and Book 3. So that's just there to show you what your current file name is. Over to the right, you have your Help button. F1 is also a way to get to Excel Help. This is a new option, Ribbon Display Options. We've been able to collapse before. This just gives you some other options to work with. We'll cover that in the Tabs and Ribbons section. Also working with the window again is Minimize, Maximize, and Close. Right below it, that's new. That's if you're working with Office 365, which is working out in the cloud, which is like a web server. What that allows you to do is save your files out to the web. You don't have to put them on your computer. What's nice about that is if you access the web, the cloud, with your smartphone or another computer, you're going to one central location and you can pull the latest and the greatest from there. So if you have that option there, that means you've got some options to go out to the Office cloud and get those things. That's really good for collaboration. It's good when you are having to switch between devices or be remote, especially from different areas, and you want to have access to your materials. Over to the far left, just below the buttons we went over earlier, these are called tabs. We got the File tab, Home tab, Insert, Page Layout, and as you click on the different tabs, they're related to certain functions. Like this one is Data. It has all different kinds of ways to work with data, reviewing and view. I happen to have PDF installed, so I'll have some options there. If you have other programs or other parts of Microsoft programs that are interacting with Excel, they'll typically be listed after the View tab. Those are built-in options or added options for you. So every time you click on a tab, it reveals what's called a ribbon, and that's all these buttons here. Again, they're related to the name of the tab. And then the first one is called File. So when you click on the File tab, it brings you into an area where you can do things like open up a new file, save things, print, sharing, exporting, different options and add-ins that are available to work with. When you're done with this, or you want to get out of this, then you can just simply hit this arrow here and it will bring you back to the front page. Typically the Home tab, but it depends on what you clicked on before you left this area. So we'll talk more about tabs and ribbons in our next section. One other thing you'll notice here is the name box. The name box says A1, and that's referring to this grid on this spreadsheet. A1 is the A column and the first row, so A1 would be right there. And you'll use that to help you with formulas, to locate things on the spreadsheet, lots of different things that you'll want to know as we go through the training about the name box. Now, the columns are alpha characters, so you have A, B, C, way out, and then you have row numbers going 1, 2, 3, and so forth. So the columns go out to 16,384C. That's a long way out, and then your row numbers looks like 1,048,576 rows. So you do have plenty of room to work with. Don't worry about filling up a sheet. Down at the bottom, speaking of sheets, the default sheet name or worksheet is sheet 1. As we work with worksheets, we'll show you how to change names and copy and do all kinds of things with them. Once you start having more than one spreadsheet here or worksheet, then these buttons become active, and we'll show you how to work with those, even how to add them. While we're on the bottom left here, the ready is a status. This thing will change depending on what you're doing on the spreadsheet. It'll give you a status, waiting for something, or updating, or looking for something for you to enter in that particular area. So at times this will be a good help. Going over to the right along the bottom, you have scroll bars that help you move right and left on the spreadsheet. And along the top or middle right here, this is moving you up and down. These are scroll bars. We'll show you more on different ways to use that when we work with navigation. In the bottom right corner, these are different views. We'll show you that in different ways to look at workbooks and worksheets. And then there's a zoom control. And again, we'll cover all of these specifics as we start getting into the areas to work with navigation, tabs and ribbons, and different ways to really enhance the way that you get and move to different items within the spreadsheet.